Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
This is going to be a yummy conversation. The only thing I'm disappointed in is that Chef William, who is here in our studio, didn't bring me any of his fantastic food, but I'll catch up on that later. So, Chef William, first of all, I want to thank you very much for having my husband and myself to the wonderful Wick Theater and for your fixing the most delectable, delicious, gorgeous dinner.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate it. It was great.
That means I've succeeded.
Yeah, and I think as a chef, I've always wondered how does a man decide he wants to cook? I mean, that's like funky. You're supposed to be playing with cars. Why do you want to fix food?
It's instilled in my brain. My grandmother was from Maison Lafitte, a little village south of Orleans, Orléans, we would say, south of Paris. And we made pâte à choux when I was 6 years old, or eclairs, with the old wood spoon. So the wood spoon that people used to get paddled with, I was stirring pâte à choux and making eclairs. And so by the time I was 7, I think I really mastered making eclairs. And I make really good eclairs now. I can say that with confidence. It's one of my favorites.
I didn't see any there in the case.
They're there today.
Oh, good. Eclairs. Eclairs.
Eclairs. But, I love food. And it's part of the culture there, certainly.
But you have to have a talent. It's one thing to love food. Some people eat food and some people prepare food. And so where are you in this whole thing about food? Is this something, you want to be the best chef in the world? What are your goals with being a chef?
I am driven to be the very best that I can be. And I know that I'm not in Europe, but here in the States, and which is this is a beautiful venue, especially Palm Beach County in South Florida. I really want to create a very fine dining venue. It's important to me as a chef to wow people, and that's what I always say to my staff. We're in the wow business. I want people to leave and go, wow, that was wonderful. And I said, if we can do that, we're successful. So I try to source vegetables from like Bedner's Farms, and I'll go pick the tomatoes because I'm very picky about tomatoes. If I'm going to use tomatoes, they're fresh tomatoes. And I
have to tell you then something funny. On my plate were these black things that look like carrots. I said, oh, my God, yes. I guess they got burned. No, wait. I know. Then I recall being in a market a few weeks ago where they had an assorted in a bag carrots of different colors. And I cut into one. I said, that's a black carrot, but it's supposed to be like that.
That's exactly right. I cook them separately because they'll sort of leach their color onto everything else. But I love carrots. I love parsnips and those flavors. So everything should be interesting on the plate and good for you too.
Yeah. So the most important thing is here. The new day starts, and do you think about your food daily? Do you plan it for a week? You have to go to, as you said, you have to go to the fresh market. You have to go to the fresh fish. This is almost like a show in itself.
It's true. I plan the menus there around the shows that are playing. So for the particular show now is Dames at Sea. So some of the songs are Choo Choo, so the Choo Choo Chicken, or the mouth-watering steak that's raining in your heart. These are songs for the show. But I think about it every morning. As soon as I wake up, I have my coffee. I love good coffee or tea. And I think about what is that I'm going to do today. Now, if I know that I have a huge event coming up, then of course I write things down and plan them. But I just sort of let my juices flow, and I get in there, and everything is from scratch. I don't like to open cans of anything. Tomato paste, yes. Tomato puree, yes. Nothing else. It's all from scratch.
So do you always have to have a beef, a fowl, a vegetable? I mean, do you always plan it so it's for everybody then?
Yeah, generally fish, something like that. Something that pleases vegetarians, because we always offer an arrangement of freshly seasoned vegetables for a vegan or vegetarian. And then I always talk with my hands.
I know you do. Well, you cook with your hands. Why shouldn't you talk with them?
Exactly.
So you have to plan that there'll be something for everybody.
Absolutely. But always fish and fowl and poultry of some sort. Chicken this time. I love duck. That'll be the next go-round because I love duck. I like the skin crispy. sort of render it down. So I'm going to actually prepare that tonight.
Well, now
Gonna
I
taste
haven't
it.
had steak in a long time. I try not to have that. I've been eating buffalo, but bison, I guess. But I saw it on the menu when I was there, and I said, I'll bet this is going to be one of the best steaks I've ever had. And it was. It
really?
was so delicious.
Good. I only serve prime beef from Allen Brothers. I don't mind to tell you my source. Allen Brothers beef is amazing. It's delicious. It's marbled. Everything else goes to these steakhouses like Morton's or Charlie Trotter's in Chicago, or what's the famous place in New York? Peter Luger's Steakhouse. They get the real prime beef, or Ruth Chris's. They get the real prime beef. No one else has it, really.
Well, I didn't know. I don't know any of those things. All I know is this steak was amazing. And it tasted. It wasn't like just eating something you put on it. I don't know what you put on it, but it was really good.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you what I put on it if you want me to. Marilyn's family has a spice called borsari. And her mother and grandmother used to have this recipe, so it's called borsari, B-O-R-S-A-R, borsari salts. I use that on the beef. I really do. And a little cracked pepper, and a little brandy. And that's what I marinate the beef in for at least a couple of hours before I cook it. And it imparts a wonderful flavor. I'm glad you liked it.
And I don't want to go to the dessert yet, because that was, for me, that topped it off, having that souffle. But let's go back to the salad.
Sure.
The salad was lovely.
Thank you very much.
And, salads are very troublesome sometimes. You don't know. I mean, there's all different kinds now.
Salads can be a mess.
Or this or that.
Yes.
But I don't know if we had a choice. I think they just asked us about a salad, and I think they brought it. Am I wrong?
That's correct. And everyone gets a salad course there. It's all organic greens. I love roquette, which is, like young arugula, if you will, which is peppery and lemony. It's wonderful, sort of like a radish. Belgian endives, which are a must to me because I'm a Francophile. Let's face it, I'm Franco-American. I'm as American as apple pie, but it's in my roots, and my grandmother would thank me for still eating Belgian endive. But the tomatoes were fresh and everything else, and so the flavors are nice. And I make a sherry vinaigrette with good vinegars, good cream sherry in the dressing, which is nice, has a sweeter flavor.
And then who made the bread?
Well, I made the bread.
I was going to say, that was not store-bought little rolls. They were so good.
That's sort of...
And you made that.
Jewish poppy seed challah. And I ground the onions and used poppy seeds and kosher salt. And I used eggs and butter and flour. And it was wonderful. And a little vegetable oil. But
it was great.
I do the bread every day, every morning. I'll make a different kind. That's popular, or make regular brioche rolls or something like that.
And something that you asked me when you first came into the studio, how was the service? And I expected, since it's a little bit of a new enterprise, having the restaurant, that you're doing training. But whoever trained Blake, I don't know where you found Blake. Hello, Blake, when you listen to the show. He didn't miss a trick. He kept coming back. He wanted to know how this was and how that was. And not just for us. I noticed he was doing this with other people on other tables. It's funny, and you know this. You could be back there sweating bullets to make everything. Sure. And you have a bad waiter or wait staff.
Yes.
It ruins it all.
It ruins everything. You're absolutely right. Good service makes the food taste better. It actually attributes to the whole dining experience, and it's my philosophy. So you've got to have that synergy going. So sort of like food and wine, and good service and good food. It sort of all goes together and has to balance.
Yeah, because
I'm thrilled that
I have a problem. Sometimes you go to these very fancy restaurants, and a lot of the service just thinks that they're better than you even. It's horrible. I mean, they don't even treat you with any kindness. It's not just a matter of sophistication. So I don't like to go to those places.
I don't.
He was friendly. He was very sweet.
Yes,
and he wanted to. I mean, let's see what happened. Oh,
well, he's a catch. Yeah, I hope you're thrilled, and thank you. And
my husband doesn't eat very much. I mean, he loved everything, but he doesn't eat everything. And so Blake said, "Was everything okay? Is something wrong?" I said, "No, that's all I eat." Because I cleaned up. I almost took my finger and licked everything on my plate because it was cleaned perfectly.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. So you're back there sweating bullets. You're making everything, and you're happy, that you have an opportunity now to be here in South Florida at the Wick Theater, which is a golden place.
Yeah, I love it very much. It's really taking off in the right direction. We're filling up on the weekends, which is nice, and the staff is really caring and concerned. They're all part of the team. which is intricate, and that's to provide exemplary service. And
It's
that's
like a
what we want.
family, and it truly is.
Absolutely.
I know we use that word
It
very
is
casually.
true. Well, it's true, though.
But everybody cares. I know Missy has been there from the very beginning, and I knew Missy when she worked at a theater that I was involved in, and everyone is really happy to see this go. So I'm saying to everyone listening, the Wick Theater is open for business, but it isn't just open for theater, which in itself would have been fine. It's also a wonderful place to go and have dinner. And what I like about it, and I know a lot of people would like this, usually you have dinner, and then you rush to the theater. And then when the theater's finished, you go home. No, not here. You have something before, you have your dinner, then you go to the theater, and then afterwards, they have someone playing the piano. They sit there. You can have some of the dessert that Chef William has prepared. It's in this wonderful case. You should definitely try the. What's the name of with the raspberries that you made that were so good?
I think you had a fresh raspberry tart.
Oh, yes, the fresh raspberry tart.
Yes, with English custard.
Oh.
It's wonderful.
It
Yeah,
was
good.
wonderful.
Thank you
of
very
course,
much.
I don't want to run
You
out
got
of
to
time.
see me. You got to see me make it.
And I
in the
actually
kitchen.
bought one because I couldn't.
You did.
Yeah,
I would have given you one.
No. I wanted to spend the money so you knew someone really cared about it. But I ordered the souffle at our dinner.
Wonderful.
I love souffle, but I have never had a souffle like this.
Really, thank you.
I was eating. It was raspberry.
It was
I
all
believe.
fresh raspberries. That's
But
correct.
you snuck in rhubarb. I know
Correct.
you did.
Correct.
And the way that Blake did, he cut a little piece in the middle,
right.
and then he put something in it. What was
Well,
that?
the fresh raspberry sauce. And again, I will only use fresh raspberries, so it takes a lot of raspberries to make one souffle. It'll take 2 pints. But it's worth it. The end result is worth it, right? So there is a supplemental charge for the souffle in addition to everything
I
else.
don't care.
But it's worth it.
I mean, to have a souffle, how long does a souffle take to make?
20 minutes. And they have to time that souffle. So they have to judge when you're about 3/4 of the way through your meal. They tell me in the kitchen. So we have to orchestrate this. And then it comes out with hopefully the rest of the desserts, and you've had coffee in front of you. So they're not rushing around,
All right,
It's
so
always
now,
a challenge.
isn't there a story that you can't make a noise or the souffle drops?
Well,
Is that true or not?
I don't think so. I've been making souffles for so many years. I think I can do it blindfolded.
So
Isn't that awful?
So noise
But-
doesn't affect the souffle.
No, it doesn't affect the souffle. What will affect the souffle is being too hot, too fast. Because if the oven's too hot, then the outside will be cooked and it'll be raw in the center. It must take 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the size of the souffle.
So what's inside a souffle?
It's made with egg whites and pastry cream and raspberries and, of course, Chambord. A souffle should whisper seductively of its liqueur.
No wonder I felt sexy after that dinner.
That's right.
It really was. It was delightful. And
Yeah.
so now that you are the head chef and the person who's just loving all this,
Sure.
what do you see for the future of the restaurant?
Well, I see the place doing very well. I as far as pre-theater goes, pre-theater menus, I'd like to see us do as many as 60 people. If we have a sold-out performance and there are 335 seats in the theater, they've got to eat somewhere. And I'm really trying to give a huge bang for the buck. And I've convinced Mrs. Wick, she's wonderful, that you may as well, let's do 100 dinners for $10 instead of 10 dinners at $100. And I said, it's better to keep the seats full, and people will talk, and we'll achieve our ultimate goal, which is a full dining room on a regular basis.
Okay.
And if we can do that, we're successful.
How many seats do you have in that dining room?
60 right now, so it's intimate and wonderful.
Would you ever consider expanding? Is there room to even expand?
There is out into the lobby. We have plans to put in a little cafe in front of the bar. She's just spoken to a designer secretly about expanding the bar and then putting in a little cafe out front to the left of the piano, if you're looking at it from the stage entrance, rather, the lobby entrance. And with that being said, you can go out and sit down and have a cocktail and a pastry, something like that. But I'm developing a menu called Small Bites, literally. Not tapas, but small bites. So you can go out there, and if you just want an hors d'oeuvre or two, you can order them fresh. So you sit down, you come in, you get a seat, and we'll give you a libation, whatever you like. It's a wonderful list that's burgeoning all the time.
I know this isn't something I even discussed with you before, but you're so smart and you're so,
I don't know about
you've
that.
been around a long time doing this. Why do dinner theaters not seem to make it?
I don't know, but
Seems like a great idea.
I've
But
asked and I looked at menus all over the country, and if I had to eat that food, I wouldn't want to go back.
so that's what it is. So a dinner theater.
I understand that there was a theater that was very successful here.
It was one.
But they served prime rib, baked potato, and broccoli.
Yeah.
Salmon, baked potato, and broccoli, or chicken, baked potato, and
No, it
broccoli, and that's
wasn't-
all you got.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't. Yeah, and you went there and you ate. That's true. We had a lot of parties there. I remember
Oh, okay,
my
I
mother
don't know.
celebrated my mother's birthday, but they and even Burt Reynolds. There was a dinner
Right.
theater up there too years ago.
Bert and Lonnie, right.
But they don't seem to do well. I guess they're for a different purpose. It's for what you're doing in a way to make sure that the theater is there.
Right.
People can eat and get there.
Sure.
But you're doing something that's superb. You're saying, well, if you're going to do it, we might as well do it elegantly and delicious.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. And in fact, I think we're doing it. It's just it's a daily practice of what our goals are and keeping things in perspective. So I don't care if someone comes in shorts, as long as they're casual and comfortable. I want them to feel relaxed and welcome in the theater.
I
Now,
think
most
I
people
better,
do.
I'm getting so involved in this. I'm not telling anybody about the Wick Theater. Go to thewick.org, thewick.org. It's the Wick Theater. It's located at 7901 North Federal Highway in Boca. And the way that you're going to call, because you're going to want to call them to make appointment. You can either reserve for dinner or you can go to the theater. It's 561-995-2333. 561-995-2333. And what we're going to do is I'm leaving Boomer Times there at the theater, and we're going to now ask Chef William to do something, an article in Boomer Times, and to start taking some pictures of some of your food so we can put it into Boomer Times.
I'm honored to do that, and I will do it.
I want you to do it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
Because I always
I'm
love
happy
food.
to.
Right, they're going to do it now.
I've got an elf. Now I'll finally put it to good use. I bought one. It was a gift, actually. I took it back and got a better one.
So the
So I'll use
dining
it.
packages include tours and performances of the Wick Theater and Costume Museum. And if you haven't been there yet to the Wick Theater, you absolutely need to go. And so what's playing there now is
Dames at Sea.
Dames at
We'll
Sea.
make you a wonderful Dames at Sea Breeze cocktail. And we will certainly take good care of you. Your red carpet will be waiting.
Yeah, it's worth your going. And so but I wanted to tell you about thinking about expanding. When I lived in Texas, it started out as a greenhouse. They grew geraniums and a lot of geraniums. And then someone said, well, we want to taste, I guess they served them little cakes or something. So then that got very popular. And then other people, it was really a working greenhouse. Then they set tables out on the dirt inside the greenhouse. And then they started serving lunch. And then they started expanding, and dinner would be 7 courses.
Wow.
There was a 3 to 4 week waiting list
That's incredible.
to eat there. And
That's
I was
wonderful.
thinking, you don't really have to expand. You just have a waiting list.
Yeah.
And that's really what's going to happen once that
I
your
think
food,
that will happen.
Yeah, that's what it'll be. I'm sorry, we only can seat 60. Make your reservation, because I remember.
Well, here's the beauty, though. I want to reiterate that we are doing a pre-theater offering from 5 and 5:30. Then we'll have a late night supper with a different menu from 7:30 to 8 o'clock. So you don't have to go to the show to have dinner, but we do want you to make a reservation so we know you're coming.
Right.
That's very important.
So the theater is important, of course, but you almost have like 2 businesses you're doing in a way, isn't it?
Sort of like that, but it's all involved with the theater. It's theatrically inclined. The menus are certainly geared towards the show, cleverly written. I think it's sort of nice.
And what we didn't tell you is that Chef William sings. Now, he may not sing to you when you go there because he's so busy working in the kitchen, but maybe you could be enticed after you're finished and just before everyone goes.
Yeah, maybe I'll
in.
come out and serenade you. It
Yeah,
all
maybe
depends.
just one song.
If they're as
or something.
beautiful as you, I'll have no problems doing it.
Well, that's just now you're going to be starting something else there. You don't want to do that. We have a lot of ladies who are single and just looking for someone charming that you have to find other people like you.
Well, thank you.
And then you'll have something really great.
Thank you very much.
So what? Tell me again. Well, I've never asked you this. What is your very favorite meal?
Oh, my.
Of all the meals you've had over the years.
My very favorite meal was from my late chef who inspired me so much. I worked for the late Francois Herringer in Great Falls, Virginia. He had the perennial favorite called L'Auberge chez Francois. That's still there. They've been open for 60 years. And I went for my 30th birthday, and I had a salmon en croûte, which was a beautiful piece of salmon wrapped in pastry, layered with spinach and jumbo lump crab meat and Maine lobster and a lobster mousse. And it looked just like a fish, and they cut it tableside, and they made this wonderful sauce with the freshly seasoned vegetables. And I've been doing it ever since.
And you do, and
My
you do
rendition.
that.
I do that, and I do it well. Monsieur Francois taught me very well.
And so what would we be ordering? What is it called? It's going to be the salmon.
It will be the salmon. Right now I'm doing a cedar planked salmon, which is a very wonderful, healthy version, but that's something I'm going to be doing for the next show. For the next menu, I'm doing
because
that
it's
salmon
special.
en
I
croûte.
hear it. It's
I'm going to call it Salmon Enchanted Evening. So that'll be on the menu.
Oh, you never stop.
It's the one it's going to say on the menu.
South Pacific is coming,
Yes,
right? Is
you
that?
know.
Oh, that's too much.
South Pacific will be amazing. That'll
Oh,
be a
it will
wonderful
be.
show.
You'll
Yeah.
have to have a shampoo dessert, right? With bubbles coming out of it.
But that's my very favorite meal. And Francois was such an amazing chef. I mean, really.
Well, all right, so let's go back. What does it take to make a dinner? What does it take to make a dinner like that?
The salmon en croûte takes me about 4 hours to prepare.
But wait a minute, you have to make it for everybody.
Well, that means if I'm going to make X amount a day. So if I have a full house, say if I have 60 people coming for dinner that night, I will make 20 salmon and that's it. And when they're gone, they're gone. I can't make more.
So you buy. So it's really you're buying one piece of salmon.
I buy Scottish imported salmon. I buy the best. Mrs. Wick affords me the best provisions, and that's one of the attractions to working for her, is that she affords me those really good provisions. So the salmon is from Scotland. It's called Loch Duart salmon, and it's amazing. And it's got all the fat and all the good healthy stuff that we need instead of taking those pills all the time. And fish oil, they claim, is good for you. Just eat that. But I'll make enough from, I'll order a whole fish or two or three times a week. And I clean it myself. I do it all.
Okay. Oh, so you're actually buying a whole fish. Oh, it's not a fillet.
Oh, I clean it myself.
You clean it yourself. It's really interesting. Okay, wait. So
I'm
now,
a hardworking guy.
Yeah, you are. So now you have this piece of salmon you've
Yes,
just cleaned.
that's
now,
right.
Now what do you do with it?
Well, then I must fillet it, and I'll keep all the trim. I'll make a salmon tartare from the trim, or I will make a pâté that I can do as an amuse-bouche, you see. But then I get, I cut it into portions, and I will cut maybe a 12-ounce portion for a salmon en croûte, and that feeds two people because it's layered with the spinach and sautéed mushrooms and the jumbo lump crab meat and the Maine lobster and then the lobster mousse, and it's all wrapped in pastry, and I'm pretty good at shaping it like a fish. I've practiced over the years.
So pastry is going around this to hold everything in.
Yes, in French it would be le saumon en croûte dans sa robe croustillante.
I love your French. You're really there. Do me a favor when you decide to do this. Please invite me. Not to eat it.
Oh, you must.
I want to watch you make it.
Okay, I'm happy to have you in the kitchen.
I want to watch you.
I was thrilled
this.
the other day. Yeah, I'll give you an apron, and you can just stand in where the air conditioning side is.
That's all right. Yeah, it's true. I will stand wherever
It's
I
a
can
hot
stand.
kitchen. Let's face it.
That's okay, but I'm amazed at that. I mean, I
Sure.
thought that you were going to tell me that it was, some different thing, but you actually
No.
put pastry over it.
Absolutely.
So when I see it, I'm cutting through pastry and the spinach and everything else.
Everything else, and you cut into it. So, I'm going to have the servers cut it tableside, literally right in half. So it's dinner for two. And if someone says, "Can we do it for one?" I'm going to try to do that too. I'll be accommodating, but I would have to cook a whole fish and then cut it in half. So they would get half
maybe
of it.
it's only a dinner for two. I mean, you
Yeah.
want it, you have to have two of it.
Correct. This is what
you're
I
gonna
think
have
I'm
to
going
be
to
a
do.
little bit,
well, of course.
Fussy here.
But I also want to be accommodating.
I know, but if it's that
Well, we're in
special,
Boca.
well, maybe
People are
yeah,
demanding.
right, but maybe you can have that person over there wants one at that table and one here, so I'll
That's
share.
right. That's exactly right. And I've done that before. But the whole thing is, you have this beautiful plate of freshly seasoned vegetables, haricot vert, and those wonderful carrots you might mention. And then I like candy striped beets, and salmon and beets go well together.
Oh, wait, I had something with beets. Do you have
Yes.
it in the salad? Is that what I was tasting? Yes.
Yes, I pickle my own, and I've got them in a jar. So I do my own beets and everything else. I love beets. They're so good for you.
So your kitchen is not that large. Where are you storing all this stuff?
This is a daily challenge. I just had a meeting this morning about storage and shelving and facilities.
Yeah, we don't think about that, do we?
It's not easy. Yeah, it's a small kitchen, but it works.
I was once on the Royal Caribbean, and I was on a media tour, and they took a lot of us downstairs to see. And it went for miles, all the storage, because they have to have, if it's a ship holding 3,500 people.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know how they stored all that to make it, the galley.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what so you don't run over down to 7-Eleven to buy something.
No. No, I don't. No, I don't. Well, if I need something, if I'm short anything at all, I'll go to the fresh market.
Yeah.
That's my favorite store.
In mine also. I like the fresh market.
I love the fresh market. And I even like Whole Foods, but it's not convenient.
No, but it's not as... The fresh market's a little bit different.
I like the fresh market. It's more boutique, isn't
Are you going to... I didn't notice there was soup on the menu.
Uh-huh.
Are you going to have soup? I love soup.
I just changed the menu yesterday. Actually, Marilyn, God love Mrs. Wick, for wanting to tweak it. And I said, be my guest. I'm so glad you want to participate.
And she loves soup, too?
And so I'm going to do soup or salad as a choice now. So you actually have a choice of appetizer. I'm still going to give you an amuse-bouche, which is a gift from the chef while you're perusing the menu or shortly after you order.
Yes, you did that.
That's right.
But tell me, what kind of possibly would you make as a soup?
I will make everything under the sun. I love soups. So cream of asparagus, but it would be light. Not a lot of cream. Just a nice asparagus soup, a mushroom veloute. I've been taught I make a hauntingly good mushroom soup. Then mulligatawny, things like this, was the chicken curry soup with shiitakes and Macintosh apples. Stuff that's really healthy. I believe soup can be a meal in itself.
Well, I have to tell you, Chef William, this is one of many times. But next time you must bring food so I can be chewing and eating
I'm hungry
while you're
too.
doing this. Yeah, see that?
So the best thing about my job is get to eat my work.
You eat your work. That's a good one. I don't get to eat my work except the microphone.
Well, you got to see the fresh croissants that I was making the other day.
Yeah. You were wonderful.
I
feel this is such a privilege. You're going to be able to see some things that Chef William's doing in Boomer Time.